Welcome back to Dive Twang. I'm Dave. So we got another three-chord rocker here today. This time it's G, D, A. Right up our alley. I'm using a lot of pentatonic stuff in that intro, right? I'm going to do a follow-up to this one using the same progression, where we're going to treat that A as like the 5 chord in a key and kind of hang out more in Mixolydian rooted on that A. But for today, we're gonna. I really limited that intro. I think on the last lick, I might have gone. That was our little, teaser for the Mixolydian. I went down to that third of that major third of the A. So pentatonics today. If you got a lot of that down mechanically, then you can just kind of kick back and go with what you know, and just add some of these new concepts and just let these be ideas for your own, enhance the things that you're already worked out for yourself. If you're, really working on pentatonic stuff, I think this will be a good situation for you with what I'm about to show you and the backing track and everything. You can really, get in there and get some muscle memory going with all of this. So when I start off with a solo or jam, I like to do something usually that's, as long as I know I'm going to have several times around too, I like to start off pretty chill or with something that I'm really familiar with, not something outlandish, or I'm going to risk maybe wiping out, like on my first lick or something, right? So here's what I mean by that. For me, that just means that, kind of this everyday pentatonic. Okay, so breathe, right? Don't be like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to back that up and go through that. It'll take me an hour to go through what he just did. That's hard done. Downstream, right? Just take that idea, just take that what you just saw and what you just heard and what it felt like, and just kind of follow that, right? And it's going to come out in a version of your version of it, which is going to be really cool. You've got to really nurture that. So at the same time, let's be sensible, when we're speaking of mechanically here too. Like, well, what am I doing there? So a lot of stuff in this. Now I'm not leaning on that minor third a lot, even though I'm playing kind of a minor pentatonic shape here, because that's okay. There's some good tension there, but when I'm using that note, I'm probably doing a lot of that with it, not just letting it kind of sit there. That's a little bit, out with this A major, chord sound. Don't get hung up on that. But not featuring that note as often unless it's kind of bent like that. So there's that little double stuff there. You can even, kind of give that a little, a little bend. So, fifth position, that kind of, everyday made minor pentatonic shape, and just some of your real bluesy sound, but especially right in that. Okay, there's a couple little licks. That one's tough at first, isn't it? if you're used to that, you've already been working on that, but that's just always a good one to throw in there. You get a lot of resonance because you got more notes sounding at once, right? That's a real rock sound. Another one is where you skip, you bend that G string, go up to that A note. And then a couple of times, the other thing that I did in this position that's kind of a good thing to look at because it sounds, slicker than it really is. I like to go back up to that higher octave after I do it too sometimes. So I'm going, it's A, minor pentatonic. But this blues note is added in there. That just gives you you put that in there, that at certain, but you can just mess around with it, putting it anywhere. But sometimes it'll hit just right. There, I snuck that third in there again, didn't I? That's our foreshadow note for our next Mixolydian lesson. So there's some ideas down there, right? And that's going to look like a lot of the blues things that many of you have been studying and videos, other teachers and stuff that you're watching, right? But putting that in, kind of stretching it more. Making a little bit longer phrases, and then after a while you get that stuff more up to speed and you can really get it going with a progression like this and a groove like this, drum beat. So the next thing, and really the other main thing that I want to show you here is, so you got that position, and then will that sound familiar? Now that's just a, right? That's just a good rock blues lick that you just hear. Everybody's kind of mixing it in their own way, but it comes from those iconic solos, right, from the 60s and 70s. So all I'm doing there is I'm sliding into it. And you could do those notes in different places. Well, there's a good... I don't think I do it there much, but now that I think about it, that'd be a good... Yeah, see, I got to work that in. I'm not really doing that. I tend to do it in the higher register. You can do it on these three strings, but I don't like the shape of it as much because this way you have your fingers are on separate frets, and it really works out. Sorry, my A string's a little out of intonation when it gets up high like that. So that's just the same, scale. Okay, just moved up an octave, and you can work some of that stuff out. You don't need to show you, every little aspect of that. But here's when you chunk it, right? As we say, here's the main ideas that you can just kind of work in your own way. Use it right at the beginning of the progression. Now, I'm playing a lot of notes there. And you know what? If I listen back to this, or if I was trying to do a real recording or a performance or something, or a taped band practice, and I heard that, I would probably, be like, yeah, there's some good stuff in there. Um, but, kind of cramming a lot of licks close together. And so, stretch that stuff out, leave some space in between. For me, I have to remind myself of that. Um, uh, Many players do, I've noticed. That when I do that, then I start to listen to the bass line and I wait for the little drum fill to finish before I play the next. And then it really starts to get more musical. But the same simple guitar soloing concepts. Okay, so when you're playing with this backing track, when you really feel like you've got, let it go through it several times. But when you really feel like you've got something going, then start listening to the other instruments more than yourself. Yeah, that drum line, I'm following the drums, and you will find that your body will just connect to that piece of music in a completely different manner than just from like head to hand to, guitar string or whatever as being the only path, right? Um, Wherever everybody's at. Like I said, I have to work on this. After all these years, I still catch myself just, kind of getting frantic or something, when I'm playing. And sometimes when it feels real good, you get excited and you get even more frantic or whatever. Yeah. If you can, use that for good, then that's good. But for me, that kind of leads me to closer to the edge of the cliff or something. And it really helps me if I make an effort to be more of a band member than just the only thing happening. Um, so hopefully that helps. Those two little areas, right? And then just practice, kind of working out between those, and that lick where you practice working that one. And I love that one because it just sounds like it's when you put that in there and you get lucky in just the right spot, it just sounds really jazzy almost, and it's not that difficult. It's just a really nice sequence of notes. Well, I, I was kind of thinking of myself as in a different part of that progression, right? But that's the idea, right? I kind of did this chunk, moved it up here, went back, and, and then throw your chords in there every once in a while, and just kind of get into that rhythm and start listening to the other instruments, and have fun, let go. Um, Let me know how you're doing with this one. Watch out for the next one when we put more Mixolydian in there in the next few days. And I appreciate you as always. Take care.